If you're a coach, consultant, or an entrepreneur in the info space and your business has hit a wall, this video will be the most valuable video you'll watch this week. Because what I'm about to show you is the exact system I use to help coaching businesses that are stuck on referrals and a dry personal network to turn their social media into a client acquisition machine that consistently attracts attention from the right cold audience. Not just vanity views and random followers, actual paying clients. And to show you guys a little example, this is one of my clients' accounts in the last 30 days. 2.5 million views, with 90% of them from being people who didn't already follow the account. That is the metric that actually matters, because that number tells you that your system is actually reaching new people instead of just entertaining the people that already followed you. In the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly how that happens, the full system end to end, and I call it the Profile to Profit system. By the time this video is over, you will know what a working acquisition machine looks like for a coaching business, and you will know whether yours is built or whether yours is leaking. Let's get into it. But first, why you should spend your time even listening to me. I have spent the last year researching, building, and testing one specific thing: how a coaching business actually generates revenue from social media. Not how to grow a following, not how to go viral, and not how to create pretty content that gets likes from people who will never pay you, but the narrow specific questions of how to turn viewers into qualified buyers that will actually keep paying you for a very long time. To answer that question, I have studied every operator at the top of this industry who is actually doing it. I have taken apart their whole systems and I have rebuilt the playbook from the ground up around one principle that almost everybody in this industry gets wrong. The result is this system I'm about to walk you through, and I call it the Profile to Profit system. It is what I install with my clients, and the screenshots you see right here on the screen are some of the recent outputs we have generated so far. So what you're about to watch is not just some tips and tricks on how to make better content. It is actually the condensed version of a year of focused work on this exact problem. But before we go any further, I need you to understand this one principle before anything else will start to make sense. Coaches do not have a content problem. They have a precision problem. The reason your social media is not converting has nothing to do with how often you post, how good your editor is, or whether your face looks weird on camera. It has to do with the fact that nobody has ever sat down with you and answered these three specific questions. Who exactly are you for? What exactly do you say to them? And how do you turn people who pay attention into people who pay you money? Once those three questions will get answered properly, your inputs will most definitely start to change. Every reel you make will have one specific job. Every post on your profile will pull people in one direction, and every conversation in your DMs will follow a path that actually leads people somewhere. That is what precision looks like in practice. And that's the difference between a business that runs and a business that had a few good months and a few quiet ones on repeat forever. The Profile to Profit system is just the practical version of that principle. It stacks the three layers on top of each other. You have attraction, conversion, and execution. And it is very important that you listen to how I explain this to you. The Profile to Profit system is pretty much an automated funnel. What you want to do is you want to have the right pieces in place so that every stage feeds into the next one without leads falling through the cracks. So we have three things here at the top. We have Instagram outbound, we have Reels and videos, and we have carousel posts. All three of these things do the same job. They get viewers into your profile, whether that be Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever the platform is, they all feed attention into one place, your profile. Now, what do we do when we get these people onto your profile? We nurture them, and we can do that with three things: long form content, a story sequence, or short form content. The long form content is the most important piece. I also like to call this the conversion content. If somebody watches your long form video, like the one you are watching right now, and they keep watching your long form video, the likelihood that they turn into a paying client goes up significantly. We will get into what kind of long-form content to post later in the video. Then we have the story sequence. This is probably the first thing a viewer will see when they land on your profile, because they see your face on the grid, they see your story ring activate at the top, and they tap. The question is, what do you put on the story to actually nurture them? We will get to this later in the video. And then we have the short form content. This is also one of the first things they will see, because most of the time they got to your profile in the first place from a viral reel. They came in through a short form video, they tapped the profile, and now they are looking at the rest of the short form on the grid. Here's the rule. Anything that happens in this nurture mechanism, the long form, the story sequence, the short form, this needs to happen daily. Long form is the only exception. You can post long form videos like once or twice a week. Everything else is every single day. Because what happens when we nurture these viewers properly, they turn into qualified leads, which means that most of the people at this stage are people who are likely to pay you money. And there are two ways to actually convert these people. If you don't know already, you can see who viewed your stories on Instagram and you can send an outbound message to these people. Or another way to convert them is that they actually engage on your story sequence, which means they are becoming an inbound lead. There are multiple things they can do. They can reply with a word, they like a story, or they vote on your poll. And that is what you call an inbound lead. And those tend to be even warmer than the outbound because they have already taken an action themselves. Both paths lead to the same place, a DM conversation on Instagram. Now, sometimes the conversation does not go all the way. Maybe the lead is not warm enough yet. Maybe they have a question, maybe they need more proof. That's fine. We have a follow-up sequence run by the appointment setter. The setter sends them a nurturing asset, which actually just is a long form video. And that way you send them right back to your content. They watch another video, they get warmer, and then they become another inbound lead, or maybe an outbound lead even. If the conversation does go well and they are qualified, the setter books them on a sales call. The closer takes the call, and if they close, great, we have a high ticket client. But if they don't close on the first call, we also have a follow-up sequence that is run by the closer. Phone calls, messages, or maybe even a booked follow-up call if they are warm but not ready yet. You do not stop following up until they either give you an opportunity to help them or they give you a straight no. And once they sign as a client, the most important part of the whole system kicks in: fulfillment. This is where most agencies and most coaches fail, and this is where the system either compounds or dies. You have to over-deliver to your clients. You have to get your clients real tangible results, because when you get your clients results, you can turn those results into case studies. You take those case studies and you put them on your long form, which is this red line that we follow right here. Those case studies, you can post them on your Instagram, you can turn them into long form content. And now look at what happens. Every new viewer who lands on your profile sees client wins. Every story sequence has proof. Every long form video has a testimonial in it. The whole funnel becomes way more powerful because the next person walking in sees that other people walked in before them and got results. That way the system feeds itself. That is the loop. Content brings them in. The profile and the nurture sequence warm them up. The DMs convert. The closer signs them. The fulfillment delivers. And the case studies feed back into the content. And the cycle starts again. Harder this time because you have more proof than you did the month before. Now let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. I want to walk you through the numbers from one of my clients' accounts in the last 30 days. 2.5 million views in 30 days. 903,000 accounts reach, and 10.3% of those viewers actually came from ads. So for now, we won't count those. The rest, almost 90%, came from non-followers. People who did not follow this account before the system reached them. That is the number I want you to focus on, because anybody can post content their existing audience will watch. The hard part, the part the rest of the industry pretends is luck, is reaching the right strangers consistently. When 9 out of every 10 viewers is someone who did not previously know the account existed, that is not luck. That is the attraction layer of the system doing its job. So we have the first exposure, the viewer comes into a short form video, now they land on the profile. What do they see next? That is the story sequence. Now let me walk you through what a working story sequence looks like, because this is where the conversion really starts to happen. It is a 3-part sequence that runs in a loop, and every visitor on your profile sees a fresh version of it. Story 1 is pain. The viewer reads it and thinks, that is me. For example, you wake up, you check your phone, you post the same content as you did last week, and you watch it get the same 100 views it always gets. You are doing everything the gurus told you to do. You are consistent, you are showing up, but the DMs are empty. Your calendar is empty, and the only clients coming in are friends and referrals you have already burned through. How much time are you willing to waste like this? That is story number 1. Read what just happened in that story. The viewer doesn't feel a slight discomfort, they feel called out by name. Their pain is specific. Empty DMs, empty calendar, burned through network, slow burnout. By the end of the story, they need to know what comes next. Story 2 is belief. This is where you show them that there is a way out. Either you tell them your own version of the story, how you used to be in the exact same spot and what changed, or you show a client who walked the same path and broke through. For example, 3 months ago, one of our clients was posting 4 times a week and getting nothing back. Then we rebuilt his offer, locked his offer, and installed the profile to profit system. 30 days later, this is what the results look like, the same results I showed you earlier. Now the viewer has a reference point. They know somebody who looked exactly like them, did the work, and broke through. That is what builds belief. Not promises, proof. The third and last story is a call to action. Soft, specific, and actionable in one tap. Something like, if your social media isn't turning into clients yet, and you finally want results, without having to spend more time on it than you are doing right now, DM me the word results, and I'll send over the complete strategy for free. That is it. 3 stories, a pain, a belief, and a call to action, and the viewer has been pulled through the same emotional sequence a sales call would create before they ever even talk to you. So now they reply to the story. They are in the DMs. This is where most coaches lose them, because most coaches treat DMs like casual conversations instead of a process. The DM flow has 3 jobs. We want to qualify, we want to nurture, and we want to book. You ask the right questions early so you are not sitting on a sales call with somebody who was never going to buy from you, and you send them the right asset at the right time. If they are not ready to book yet, you send a long form video, a case study, or maybe even a relevant client win. And the important thing is that you warm them up with proof, not pressure. And then when they are ready, then you book the call. So you don't want to be pressuring them into a sales call with you. You want to show them enough proof that eventually they will even ask for a sales call themselves. From there, the closer takes the call and signs the client. And like I just said, the leads that do not close do not disappear. They go into that same follow-up sequence, or they go into a follow-up call that's set up by the closer. This is very important, because if somebody chose to be on a call with you, they were at some point convinced of your service. You need to implement the right follow-up sequence in order to push them over the edge. A percentage of those leads close on month 2 or maybe even month 3. That follow-up alone, when it is built right, can add 20 to 30% more revenue without producing a single new lead. And on top of this, you want to track 6 numbers. The numbers you want to track are profile visits, you want to track follower to DM rate, you want to track DM to call rate, you want to track show rate, you want to track close rate, and you want to track revenue per call. All these numbers will show you exactly where the problem is if something isn't working. Because once these numbers are visible, you know exactly what to do when you are not getting the results you want. For example, If you have a high profile visit but low DMs, most likely your bio is broken. If you have high DMs but you have low calls, your appointment setting is broken. If you have high calls and low closes, your offer or your sales process is broken. You see where I'm getting at? If you see the numbers, you know exactly what the problem is inside your business. Because the numbers show you exactly where the leak is every time. And that makes this system compound over time, and that's why it's incredibly valuable. And this is what I mean when I say the business stops feeling like a coin flip and starts feeling like a solvable problem. Alright, so we walked through the system and we have walked through the numbers and the conversion path. The last thing left is the content itself. What do you actually film? Because the system only works if the right kind of content is feeding into it. There are two layers of content. You have short form and you have long form. And inside each one, there are three types that each do a different job. Let me walk you through each of them. Let's start with short form. Short form is your top of funnel reach. This is what brings strangers to the profile. There are three types you want to be making, and you want to be making all three. If you only do one, the system breaks. The first type is talking head content. This is where the conversion actually happens at the short form level. You on camera naming a problem your buyer has, walking them through a piece of your methodology, or giving them a tactical breakdown they can use. Let me show you an example. This reel is an example of talking head content. Like, look, she's just sitting in her car and she's talking to the camera face to face. That's a very good example of talking head content. You can use hooks here like 3 things in your bio that are killing your DMs, or here is why your reels are getting views and 0 leads. Talking heads builds authority and pulls qualified people into the profile. You can talk about viral topics, you can talk about personal stories, or you can share valuable insights. Those are like the 3 main things that you can talk about in talking head content. Talking head builds authority and pulls qualified people deeper into your profile. The second type is testimonial content. These are short form clips pulled from your client conversations. 30 seconds of a client saying where they were before they work with you, what changed and what their numbers look like now. This type of content is what closes the deal in the back of the viewer's mind before they ever talk to you. Because anybody can claim their system works, the hard part is showing somebody else saying it works. When a stranger watches your client describe results on their own words, with their own face on camera, they stop wondering whether you can do it, and they start wondering whether they are the next one. Let me show you an example as well. This is an example of a client testimonial reel. And like I said, these reels is somebody that was a client with you explaining what the process looks like, what the results were that they got from you. And yeah, this just builds so much authority and so much trust with other potential clients that are looking at your Instagram profile. Like I told you before, client testimonials build trust, they show authority, and they are very high converting because of these other 2 things. The last type is viral or trending content. This is where you take something that is really blowing up on the internet right now and you tweak it a little bit to match your industry. This works because it borrows attention from a moment that is already trending, and if a video works once, you can rinse and repeat that format. This type of content is only meant to give your profile some traction. It's not meant to be converting. That's why you should always use a mix of these 3 forms of content and not just use one of them. So you want to use talking head, you want to use the client testimonials, and you want to use the virals and trends to mix up your profile a bit. You want to use these virals and these trends to attract a lot of views. You want to use talking head to build authority and show you are someone who actually knows what they're talking about. And you want to show client testimonials to prove to people that you are actually making this work. Now, long form. Long form is your conversion engine. If somebody watches your long form, the likelihood that they become a paying client goes up dramatically, because long form is where deep authority gets built. There are 3 types here too. You want to have valuable content or value-driven content. These are tactical, methodology-driven videos like the one you are watching right now. This is where you walk through your system, you teach your principles, and you explain how something works. At the end of the video, they understand your business better than they understood it walking in. That should be the main goal of your long-form content. Second, you have lifestyle or behind-the-scenes videos. These are often vlogs, a day in the life, or maybe here even a week in the life. You can even do behind the scenes of how you run your business. This is where your personal side of your brand gets developed. People do not buy from systems or even businesses, they buy from people. And they need to know who you are before they can trust you. Third are testimonials and case studies, just like we described here. This is also, in long form, the highest converting type of content you can make. A 20 or maybe even 30-minute conversation with a client, walking through where they were before they work with you. What we did, what changed, and what their numbers look like now. Every viewer who watches a testimonial sees themselves in your client. You gotta understand this. They see that it worked for other people, so subconsciously they believe you can do it for them as well. And that is what makes them book a call. You want to post long form content on YouTube once or maybe even twice a week. And here's the bonus. Every long form video that goes on YouTube gets cut up into 8 to 12 short form pieces. So your long form is not just sitting on YouTube. It is feeding the short form layer as well. And that way you can get way more output instead of having to choose between those different types of content. Now, the last thing we have to talk about is stories, but we already covered that in the last part. But to recap, stories run a 3-part sequence on a loop. You have pain, belief, and a call to action. You can do that daily because every visitor who lands on your profile sees a fresh version of it, and that sequence is what pulls them from a viewer into a conversation. And that is actually the whole system and how we turn all these qualified viewers into paying customers for our clients. It's pretty simple, but it's not easy. And that's why you will set yourself apart from your competitors if you implement this system into your business. And that's why you will grow way faster than them as well. If you have made it this far, you're the exact person I have built this for. What you can do next is go to my Instagram, DM me the word precision or just any questions that you have, and that will go to me directly. I will look at your profile, your offer, and where your business is right now, and I will tell you honestly if this is a good fit for your business or not. If it is, we can talk about working together. But if it's not, I will tell you what I think your business actually needs, and I will point you in the right direction. Either way, you will walk away with more clarity than you had 10 seconds ago. And that is the whole video, the whole profile, the profit system, the numbers behind it, and the content that actually fills it. I hope this video helps, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.